Let's talk about Saturn, your divine and often tough love accountability partner, turning retrograde in the deep, emotional, mystical, ethereal, highly creative, and imaginative sign of Pisces. Saturn will station retrograde June 29th and will be retrograde until November 15th of 2024 and go back over the degrees that it traveled between March and June of this year, giving us a second chance to refine, to redo, to revisit any lesson, any soul lesson, karmic soul lesson that we are meant to learn from this Saturn transit in Pisces, which began March of 2023 and will continue until mid-February of 2026, minus a brief dip into Aries during the summer of 2025. Now, I think of Saturn retrograde as a stickler professor. Maybe it was that course that you really wanted to take that your friends said, definitely take the course. It's a great course, but just know he's kind of harsh, that professor. Completely no nonsense. He's not going to take any excuses for missed assignments. He definitely is not going to let you redo a midterm exam if you fail it. But if you have a sincere desire to master the material, this professor will meet you in his office hours. He will help you with whatever it is you're not getting. And in the process, may even impart a deep wisdom that you will carry with you for the rest of your life. So, my friend, in part one of this video, I'm going to share with you who will most feel the Saturn retrograde transit, how we can navigate this energy, really take advantage of it to receive that wisdom that Saturn wants to give us. And I want to share some tips with you because Saturn, the planet of growth and learning and those soul lessons in Pisces, is like a fish out of water. It's not a natural placement of Saturn. And in part two of this video, I'm going to be doing readings for all 12 signs based on your rising sign. I love the magic that comes through the cards. As always, I encourage you to watch part one because this is like the first part of your 12 sign readings. And we're going to go a little bit deeper because this is Pisces energy. After all, this is sometimes going to the depths and receiving a treasure that can make all the difference to your emotional well-being. So before we dive in, I want to say hello and welcome if you're new to this channel. This is a like-minded community. I'm so glad that you found us. If you want to feel empowered through astrology and you want to find your tribe, you have found the right place. Be sure and subscribe so you don't miss a video. Hello and welcome back to my friends who've been watching my videos, to my subscribers. I am so incredibly grateful for you. And happy Sunday to those of you who are joining us in the live premiere. Every Sunday, 9 a.m. Pacific time is when you are all warmly invited to join us in the chat. I find it especially synchronistic that this video is premiering on Father's Day. That was not planned, but after all, Saturn is the archetype of the father, which I'm going to say more about when we get into this transit. I'm Betsy Getting. I am a psychic astrologer as well as an intuitive life coach and the author of the book, The Magic of Saying Yes, Answering Your Heart's True Calling. I love weaving together spiritual principles, divine downloads, and Western tropical astrology. And if you would like to know how Saturn is activating your natal astrology chart, what is happening with Saturn in your chart or with any of the other transits that are going on at this time, go to my website and check out my astrology consultations, my coaching services, which I'll say more about at the end of this video. So stay tuned for that. And I also have a free gift for you, which I'll tell you about at the end of the video. And by the way, I write about the astrology between videos, the astrology of the week. So if you'd like to get my weekly inspirational astrology update, go to my website, sign up for free, and you will get that free gift instant download right away. Now, many of us would like to think that when Saturn goes retrograde, we get a break. We get a free pass, so to speak. We don't have to work as hard. I wish that were true. The truth about a Saturn retrograde is that it can be a deepening of the lesson that we already learned. It can be us integrating what we learned, and this would be during March and June of this year, 2024. You may want to think back to that time. If you are having a Saturn transit to any of your planets or points in your natal astrology chart, it was working with you to learn something, to integrate something, to get stronger, to get more resilient. more self-reliant wherever that planet or point is in your natal astrology chart. During a Saturn retrograde, we could feel like things come up that came up before. We're revising, we're redoing, we're refining. We're doing whatever is needed to fortify our foundation because Saturn wants us to create a solid, sustainable foundation wherever it is transiting in your chart, wherever it is activating those natal planets or points in your chart as well. Big picture, Saturn is helping us to deepen a soul lesson. Often this involves karmic soul contracts. And so that can mean that somebody comes back into your life or that you have a second chance to learn something through your relationship with that person. And this is all in support of our growth, of course, in terms of our wisdom, in terms of our ability to not only feel strong, but to master something. Saturn helps us with self-mastery. And we're going to get into what Saturn in Pisces specifically is about. But first, I want to share with you who will most feel this transit of Saturn retrograde in Pisces. Saturn will be traveling backwards. Of course, it's not really going backwards, but to our human perception, Saturn will be traveling backwards from 19 to 12 degrees of Pisces. So those of you who have planets or points in your natal astrology chart between 12 and 19 degrees of Pisces, or the other mutable signs of Virgo, Gemini, or Sagittarius, you will feel this transit more personally, more intensely. Now, those of you who have planets or points in the signs of Capricorn, Cancer, Taurus, or Scorpio between these degrees of 12 and 19, you may feel a more easeful Saturn transit. Saturn is helping you build something. It's helping you rebuild your foundation or recreate a new structure or container, but with a trine or a sextile, which is more ease, flow, and opportunity. But it still involves concerted effort, discipline, and hard work. Saturn is an outer planet, so regardless of whether this retrograde is activating any of the planets or points in your chart, we will all feel it. We will all feel its movement in the collective. And briefly, keywords for Saturn are responsibility, maturity, sobering, getting organized, being accountable for your actions, working on your efficiency, improving your productivity or your systems, boundaries, 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 enforcing commitments, rules, restrictions, having to answer to an authority, and in the process becoming more resilient and more self-reliant. With a Saturn transit, we do find ourselves working harder. We do often find ourselves having to delay gratification. And it is a deep Saturn truth that does bring rewards. It is like, yes, if you want to build a house, of course you need a foundation for that house. Of course you have to make sure that that foundation is sound and solid and will hold that beautiful home that you're building. But if you put that time and effort into your foundation, it will support your sanctuary for the life of your home. And this is what we're all doing on a metaphorical level with the Saturn transit. Now, in Pisces energy, we're really working on our emotional foundation. Why? Because Pisces is a water sign. It's a mutable sign, which means it helps us to move through change. We have to be flexible and adaptable in Pisces energy. After all, Pisces represents the ocean. And Saturn is not very comfortable in Pisces. Why? Because Saturn is all about following rules and restrictions and setting clear boundaries, having a solid structure for something. Well, think about Pisces. It is the vast, wide ocean. We are all a drop in the same ocean in Pisces energy. There are no boundaries. You cannot divide up the ocean. So what does this mean? It means that learning to set boundaries in Pisces energy is that much more challenging. Many of us during this transit are being called to work on our boundaries, boundaries with ourselves and with others. And the thing that is so important to remember about Saturn and Pisces energy is that we are highly, highly sensitive, empathic, like sweet little pure love souls. And we're also very energetically open in Pisces energy. So we are like the sponge. We do subconsciously absorb other people's energy, which makes it more challenging to stay at a higher vibration if we're in environments that are not a match for our energy, or we're around other people that aren't an exact match. Not only this, but Pisces is the 12th sign of the zodiac. It is the very last sign. So many of us are finishing up a karmic soul cycle. The 12th house is those karmic soul contracts. It is that subconscious imprinting that many of us received during past lives, often played out again in our childhood so that we could heal it, so that we could come more into wholeness and health. So especially if you are being activated by Saturn and Pisces, you are very likely highly sensitive, quite empathic. One of the ones, and I think this is going to be many people watching this video, who have always felt different, who have not felt quite at home here on planet Earth, probably told that you were too sensitive or too much, and or you felt misunderstood in your family of origin or in your friend groups or at school as a child. Some of you may even have been bullied. Some of you may have felt outcast or excluded in some way. And those of you who resonate with this, and this is not going to be everyone, but if you resonate with this, you may also resonate with overgiving, sacrificing even, feeling self-doubt, especially when you want to do something new, you want to go out of your comfort zone, you want to express more of who you truly are, having that doubt come up. And this is because in Pisces energy, we can easily be the chameleon. We can easily lose sight of our own identity, our own true self in order to please others, in order to fit in order to disappear even, energetically disappear so that we feel safe. Emotionally safe. There's a reason that there is a strong tendency to want to escape reality in Pisces energy. Why is this? Because many of us grew up in environments where we didn't feel emotionally safe. Maybe you didn't feel free to express your emotions. Maybe it didn't feel safe to tell people how you really felt. Very possibly the people who raised you didn't even know what they were feeling, much less have the ability to help you tune into your own emotions. And so as a result, you could have taken on a coping mechanism, one or more coping mechanisms, such as hiding your light, self-sabotaging, procrastinating, even on things that are really important to you, not keeping an important commitment, perhaps missing deadlines, feeling defeated, prone to giving up too soon, or fearing criticism, perhaps because you got a lot of criticism from one or both parents growing up. And so it may have been easier just to play it safe, just to hide, just to remove yourself from a situation for a very good reason. It kept you feeling safe. Now, because Saturn rules the father, these issues of emotional safety may come up for you around your father. Even if, and this is important to say, even if you have done a lot of inner work on your relationship with your father, Saturn could be bringing it up again to heal another layer. Yes, there can be many layers to our healing process. And I know this is hard for our human self, but if you think back to your foundation, each time you heal a layer, you are strengthening your foundation that much more. And if it wasn't your father, it could be a masculine presence in your life. It could have been the person growing up, a teacher, or even your mother, if your mother was more of the disciplinarian or took on more of a masculine role in your life. Especially for past generations of fathers. Generally speaking, fathers are becoming more and more nurturing now. But for those of us who grew up with fathers of past generations, very few of those dads, and of course I'm generalizing here, but very few of the fathers from past generations received the nurturing around their own emotional needs that they should have gotten. And because they were not nurtured in the way that they needed, they couldn't give their children that nurturing either. And then add to this, if you are highly, highly sensitive, many of our fathers were told, don't cry, you're okay, get up and dust yourself off. They were probably rarely, if ever, asked how they felt, and many of them were abused as well. So for example, my father had a father who was quite abusive. My father actually ran away from home at a very young age. He was 12 or 13. From then on, he pretty much raised himself. And not only that, he went through the military, which is very Saturn. And so my dad had quite an unpredictable temperament. He could be warm and loving and gregarious and super fun to be with, but a lot of the time you had no idea how he felt or when he was going to be upset, get angry, or when I grew up with 4 girls, when we were going to be in trouble. And nobody wanted to be in trouble with my dad because when we were, it felt quite harsh to us, quite harsh. And as a highly, highly sensitive being myself, I completely shut off my emotions from my dad because I didn't feel safe to be with him when he wasn't in a good mood. So my parents fought a lot, and when they did, I would go into the bathroom, I would lock myself in the bathroom, and I would plug my ears, and I would chant this little, I hope they get divorced, I hope they get divorced. I mean, that's what I did. I did the Pisces hiding thing. Not only this, when I was 6 years old, my mom, who also had her own loving side, was not a disciplinarian, but one day she sent me to my room because I was probably being too vocal. I was probably expressing my feelings. She sent me to my bedroom. My bed was right next to a big picture window. I'm laying on my bed, kicking the window, trying to get her attention, and my foot goes right through the window. So I have this huge gaping wound in my foot. And what do? I hobble into the bathroom chanting to myself, I can handle this, I can handle this, I can handle this. I was too afraid to tell them that I had hurt my foot because I didn't want to get in trouble from my dad for breaking the window. And I tell you this story because a lot of us, through our conditioning, learned that our deep emotional needs, our needs for nurturing, our needs for honoring our sensitivities, our intuition, and our sweet, pure love nature. Because those needs were not met as children, another part of us took over. I'll call it the Saturn part of us. The Saturn part of us, I can do it myself. I can take care of this on my own. I'm going to figure this out. That part may have took over. The part of me as a 6-year-old little girl who had a wound in her foot that needed stitches. And by the way, Pisces rules the feet. A wound that needed stitches. I thought as a 6-year-old girl that I could take care of that myself. I wasn't going to tell anyone until I, of course, saw well, I don't want to get too graphic, but I saw it all over the place and I had to tell my mom. So I take the time to tell you this story because all of us during Saturn and Pisces are being given an invitation, an opportunity, and it may even feel like our marching orders, like we have no choice to be compassionate with ourselves, to tune into our emotional needs, to become very aware of where we weren't nurtured as children and where it's time for us to give ourselves that nurturing. And I have a separate video for you that gives you tools for caring for your inner child. It's called Reparenting Yourself, that I highly encourage you to check out, and I will link to that in the description box below. This Saturn transit is calling for us to tap into our deep empathy. We're used to giving that deep empathy, most of us, to other people. Now we're being strongly tasked by Saturn to give that to ourselves. So this can look like talking to your inner child. You didn't deserve that. I'm so sorry that happened to you. Your feelings matter. How are you feeling now? What do you need? How can I take care of you? You deserve the love and understanding that you give to others. You deserve to be appreciated. You matter. Your contribution is so important. Your contribution to your family, even if you were the black sheep, even if you were the different one, you really helped your family see another perspective, grow. Even if they never tell you, even if they never acknowledge it, your contribution, your highly sensitive, empathic contribution deserves to be not just acknowledged, but celebrated. Because that is you living out your soul purpose. That is you staying true to you. That is you living your dharma. And nothing, my friend, absolutely nothing is more important than your emotional safety, your emotional well-being. That is the foundation of everything that you create in your life. And of course, Pisces is not just associated with our highly sensitive, deeply emotional selves. It's also associated with our creativity, with our deep mystical waters, our divine connection, our imaginations, which create everything that we actually bring into form here on this earthly plane, and our psychic senses, our intuition. So this is a beautiful transit for deepening your intuition, for partnering with your soul, which is what I share with you in my book, The Magic of Saying Yes. I have many tools in that book for you to create a deeper, more divine, loving partnership with the essence of you, with your soul essence. So this Saturn and Pisces transit may give you the opportunity to redo something that has been with you for lifetimes, to heal something across lifetimes. For example, if in a past life you had a big financial loss, this could be the lifetime where you are taking control of your finances, where you are learning to budget, or you're learning to invest, or you're clearing shame or guilt about having a financial loss in a past lifetime or even earlier in this lifetime. The more uncomfortable symptoms of a Saturn and Pisces transit are overwhelm, anxiety, or exhaustion. This transit wants us to go with the flow. It wants us to pace ourselves. It is supporting us. Saturn is supporting us to take care of ourselves, not to push the river, to ride the horse in the direction that it's going, to release resistance. And sometimes that means surrendering. But Saturn is giving us the opportunity to be aware and move through, work through these emotions of overwhelming anxiety or exhaustion and transform them into inner strength and resilience and self-reliance. One very important transit that Saturn is going to be making during this retrograde period to an outer planet, Jupiter, Saturn and Jupiter squaring off. And in the interest of time, I'm going to do a separate video for you on this transit. But I wanted to give you a heads up that the transit is happening in August, mid-August. And whenever two outer planets come together in hard aspect, we feel it collectively, and some of you will feel it personally in your chart as well. So I will do a separate video for you on that transit as we get closer to August. Big picture, I see that transit is helping us to rebuild our support system. Jupiter and Gemini, our friendships, our support network, our opportunities to help one another, create solid networks of like-minded, soul-connected friends especially. Those kinds of relationships may be reworked, recreated during this Saturn-Jupiter square transit. Big picture, the Saturn retrograde happening now until November of 2024 will reward us for our willingness to reimagine our lives, some of us, to co-create with our divine source, and to nourish, to be devoted to nourishing and caring for our highly sensitive, empathic selves. So some tips to strengthen you through this Saturn and Pisces transit. One is to remember that Saturn is helping us with soul lessons, and oftentimes a soul lesson such as boundaries is one that we get many practice tries at. That is true for me. That's why I'm laughing, is because boundaries are a huge lesson in my life. And I continue to be given opportunities to practice boundaries, much to the annoyance of my human self. Also, Pisces rules your health on all levels: emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual. Having a spiritual practice is key during this transit. So important during this transit, whether it's yoga or breath work or walking, being near water, really helpful, being in nature, really soothing and healing. In my experience during this transit, because I have several planets in Gemini, as well as Pisces and Virgo, in my experience so far, Saturn wants us to see where we are overgiving, to see where we're sacrificing too much of our time, to see where we are out of balance and bring balance back into our lives. To put our rest, our relaxation, our holistic health, to put that first. And to feed our mystical selves as well, not overworking anything that we're overdoing, any tendencies to hide, any tendencies to self-sabotage, to really look at them with real eyes so that we can realize the truth of what we're doing and change at least one habit. If we can change at least one self-sabotaging habit during this transit, that will be a huge win. Okay, my beautiful friends, so let's do the 12 sign readings now. Listen for your rising sign. This is the area of life in which you are going to be experiencing this Saturn retrograde transit. You can also listen to your moon sign and your sun sign for further messages. These are general themes. Remember that how the Saturn transit is activating your chart depends on how it is working with the planets or points in your natal astrology chart, which I can illuminate for you in a personal astrology consultation. So let's start with Pisces, because beautiful Pisces, hello Pisces, this transit is happening in your sign. I'm sure you're quite aware of it already, especially if you have any planets or points between 1 and 19 degrees, where Saturn has already been in, of course, during this retrograde. It is traveling back from 19 to 12 degrees. So watch the first part of this video if you haven't already. That's where I do a deeper dive. And this is a deep, deep transit wanting us to nourish and connect with, deepen our self-love, our devotion to our own emotional needs, especially. In Pisces, for you, this transit is happening in your first house of identity. This is important because it's very easy to lose our identity in a relationship, in a job situation, wherever we have devoted our time and energy. If it's been out of balance, if we've given too much to others, in any environment, whether it's home and family or a committed partnership or to your client base or to your career in other ways, wherever you have potentially, and this is not all of you, but if you have been giving too much or not saying what you needed to say or not speaking up for yourself, this transit is saying it's time. Saturn's going to help you to make a course correction. This will involve any role that you play, either professionally or personally, and will also involve your vitality, your health, which is really an important thing in Pisces energy because our emotional health very much affects our physical health and our mental health. So that could be up for you as well. This is where Saturn is holding you accountable to take care of you, beautiful Pisces, and to be compassionate with yourself, to forgive yourself for anything that's happened in the past, to make amends if that's important. But this is about releasing your past. This is about letting go of anything that you feel emotionally that feels heavy for you, that feels like a grievance of yourself or toward another. This is the time to release it. A beautiful time to do inner healing work. And you may be saying, as many people do, I don't want to do that. I don't want to look at my issues with my father. As I spoke about in part 1 of this video, this will very likely bring up father issues for many people, but this is a beautiful opportunity. When Saturn is making an aspect to any of your planets or points, because Saturn is the father, this is like a ripe time. This is a really fruitful, potentially fruitful time for you to do any kind of inner work on your whatever you experienced with your dad or a father figure or a masculine figure, an authority figure in your life. So let's pull a card for you, Pisces, and see what the cards have to say. I really feel that this Saturn and Pisces transit is helping us to advance to the next timeline. It is helping us to release past lives or lessons from past lives, childhood stuff. It is, I just see this big wave coming in and clearing out a lot of stuff on an emotional level, and that is a lot to celebrate. Okay, so I'm not saying it's easy work, but it's well worth it. The voice of Saturn as I'm being. Okay, Pisces. Pisces, your card is self-respect. The message is respect yourself. You are the best judge of what is right for you. And as you can see, she's being her mermaid self, very Piscean. There's a lot of cleansing water here. She is tuning into her heart and she is getting very clear on what she needs that will allow her to be honoring of her own needs and in the big picture, for the long run, respect herself. And in so doing, of course, opening her up to respect from others as well. Pisces, so if you want to claim your self-respect, let us know in the comments below. Okay, Aquarius. Hello, beautiful Aquarius. Aquarius, you are having this transit of Saturn in Pisces retrograde in your house of earned income, values, self-esteem. This is the house of material security. This transit is really a transit where I believe you are deepening your self-love, where you are really looking at income. If you are someone who is earning an income, you are, some people are retired, some people don't have to think about that, some people have a trust fund, all those things. But most of us do look at our income, and we do, during a Saturn transit, we do often assess and make changes in order to further strengthen this area of our life. So some of you could be changing a job. You could be experiencing right now a lower income, a shortfall of money. Money could feel tight right now. That is very typical of a Saturn transit. that is helping you to reassess your values, to get really clear on what's important to you, where you want to invest your money, and maybe your spending habits, maybe you downsize, maybe there are some things that fall away because of finances being more tight than usual. It does make you go into that reflection process, and it does help you in the long run to become more true to who you really are and have a higher standard of living, a standard of living that is higher because it is in alignment with your new or true post 2020 values. And any delay in your income right now, because Saturn is often a delay, not a denial, as we say, any delay will be well worth it in the long run. You are strengthening your foundation in your material security during the Saturn transit, beautiful Aquarius. So let me pull a card for you and see what the cards have to say. Beautiful Aquarius. Your card is patience. Be patient, be willing to pass up good for great. I love this, considering that this transit has to do often with our material comforts and needs. You can see she's reflecting. You can see that she may be having to give something up temporarily, but in the process, you are passing up something that's just been good or good enough for something really great. Beautiful Aquarius, if this resonates, leave me a comment. Let me know. I would love to hear. Capricorn, hello, beautiful Capricorn. Capricorn, you are having Saturn transiting your house of mindset and communication, your hood. Everything that goes on in your local environment falls within this house. It's also your devices and your vehicles. So Saturn is sometimes very mundane in terms of things like my car needs fixing, or I need a new phone, or something to do with a website needs reworking perhaps. Or because Pisces is a water sign and it does take us into the depths of our emotions, this could be a healing that you're working on with a sibling. This could be, especially during this retrograde, you could be backtracking to a relationship that is either a relationship with a sister or brother, or a soul sister or brother, someone that feels like a sibling to you, someone that would be like a chosen family member. Maybe you hit a wall with that person, and maybe you are reconfiguring that relationship. So with a Saturn and Pisces transit, it is encouraging us to be vulnerable. It is encouraging us to be forthright, but also to really have compassion for the other person, to think about anything that has gone on in the past with that relationship. And this could also be with a neighbor. This could be with an aunt, uncle, or cousin as well, anyone in your extended family. But basically, this transit is asking you to apply compassion and forgiveness within yourself and with the other person as well. And because this is also the house that rules any sort of freelancing work, any writing work, any teaching work, especially if you're doing it in the local area, because of that, you could be redoing, reworking, refining something in one of these areas as well. So if you've always wanted to start a new website, you've always wanted to get that domain name, this is the time to do it. Saturn is saying, big yes, this is your foundation. This is the foundation that you are setting for any of these areas that I have just mentioned. And Capricorn, you're getting a sextile from Saturn, which is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to heal a relationship with a sibling, or a close friend. It's an opportunity to build a foundation for any sort of side work, freelance work, anything that you do on your own, anything that involves a transaction or conversations, networking, local networking. This is where you could be building something new, Capricorn. Okay, so let's see what the cards have to say for you. And take care of your emotional needs, especially when it comes to your sibling-like relationships, your communication, your mindset. You may just create a whole new inner narrative, a whole new story about yourself and your life during this transit, Capricorn. That would be pretty amazing. Okay, Capricorn. Your card is retreat. Retreat is a retrograde kind of activity. Take a mini retreat. Listen to the voice of your soul. Do the reflection. Be near nature. Put yourself in a soothing, beautiful place. Wrap yourself up in the cocoon of nature or whatever else is healing for you, even if it is just a nap in the afternoon. Allow yourself to open to the guidance of your beautiful soul, beautiful Capricorn. It will be well worth the time. Sagittarius, 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 Sagittarius. Saturn transits do not tend to be singing and dancing and playful kinds of energies, do they? Especially because Sag, you are receiving a square to any of your Sagittarius planets or points in your natal chart. You're receiving a square. Now, whether or not that square is happening during this retrograde period will depend on your natal astrology chart, which I can share with you in an astrology consultation. But overall, when Saturn is in Pisces, and this is about a 3-year period, minus a few months when Saturn goes into Aries for a short period of time, during this time, you are likely to feel some sort of pressure, some sort of strong need, a strong assignment, so to speak, from the universe, having to do with your home, family, or inner emotional security. This is the house of roots and belonging. Saturn here, Sag, is trying to help you become more secure in where you live, in creating a sanctuary that makes you feel safe. This is about your inner and outer safety. And of course, as we create inner safety to express our full creativity, to express who we came here to be, it's much more likely that our home will also take on that same vibe, right, Sag? So Saturn could be working with you on your relationship with your mother, on your relationship with your father, especially because Saturn rules the father. I speak about this at length in the beginning of this video. If you want to go back to that, I encourage you to go back to that if you haven't watched that yet. Ancestral healing, inner child healing, reparenting yourself. This is the time. Most people roll their eyes when I say reparenting. They don't want to do it. They don't want to go back to childhood. It's like, I'm over that. But are you over it on a visceral level? Because if in any possible way you are not feeling safe, solid, and secure in this physical world, secure enough to shine your light, to express your gifts, to do that project you've been wanting to do, to build that home you've been wanting to build. If in any area of your life there is something that you feel held back from your full expression, this transit is wanting to help and support you to take care of those needs, of your deep, highly sensitive, empathic, personal needs, your emotional needs. And often that does go back to a childhood wound. So the work will be well worth it, Sag. It will be well worth it. Your marching orders, Sag, are to create deep inner security for yourself. And that means if you are in a situation in your home or with a partner with whom you live especially, or a roommate, or anything in your home, maybe it's too noisy, maybe it's not in the right place, maybe it's not, not in the right location, maybe, you just need more space, whatever it is, that is your task. It's your task right now to work that through, work that out, and put yourself in a physical place and in an emotional and mental place where you feel serene, where you feel safe, where you feel secure. Okay, Sag, let me pull a card for you now and see what the cards have to say. This is your foundation. It is your emotional foundation, is the foundation of everything that you're creating. It is well worth it. I feel like I sound like so Saturn, but this is what's coming through. Okay, the cards. Sag, your card is, oh, I love this. Rest. Whoops, rest. Rest and relax. Release guilt. There you go. Release guilt. Make your needs, make your needs a top priority. You can't make this stuff up. It is time to make your needs a top priority. And with the pink in this card, that is softness, that is soft Pisces energy. Going with the flow, giving yourself the rest you need, releasing any guilt that could come up from you allowing yourself rest. Some of us can feel guilty, or other emotions, fear can come up. But that is all healable. I know, because I've worked through that myself. I don't feel guilty when I give myself naps anymore. I don't feel guilty when I give myself the rest that I need, but I used to. So I know that that is something we can transform. Beautiful Sag, if any of this reading resonates, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Scorpio, hello, beautiful Scorpio. Scorpio, you are getting a trine from this energy of Saturn and Pisces. What a beautiful aspect that you're receiving. That is flow. That is somebody handing you a blessing or a gift in your lap. Now, I know we don't normally associate Saturn with blessings and gifts, but Saturn here, at least as it's interacting with any of your Scorpio energy in your chart, you could have energy in other areas of your chart that it's making a harder aspect to, but your Scorpio planets or points, it is supporting those with ease and grace. And so this could feel like flowing creativity in the fifth house. This could feel like you have everything you need, like you now have your foundational needs are met. Saturn, your foundational needs for time, money, energy, resources, the childcare that you need, some of you, the boss not working you so hard if you work for somebody else. And maybe some money has come in and you're able to now work on something that you've been wanting to work on. It could be, it's different for all of you, but this is the house also that connects to our children, not just creativity, but our children, our inner child. This is the delights of your inner child. This is feeding your inner child with the things that you absolutely love to do, especially creativity. And it's also true love and romance. True love and romance. So what is the fifth house Saturn transit like when you are dating or you are wanting to take a relationship to the next level? Well, Saturn rules commitment. So you definitely could find yourself in a relationship that you are taking to a more committed level. But Saturn also has to do with, but Saturn could also make you feel like you have to follow rules. You have to live within a certain structure or container or answer to some authority. And this is really good for helping you set boundaries. It's really good for you creating a boundary within yourself. For example, if you want to do a writing project, if you want to write a book or something, or a screenplay, or you want to do something else that takes a lot of discipline, Saturn transiting through your fifth house can really help you to be disciplined and put that time aside for you. Or it can help you set boundaries with somebody that you're dating or with your children as well. So think of Saturn as your divine accountability partner. Beautiful Scorpio. Let us pull a card for you now and see. And Saturn in the fifth house, yeah, it can kind of take away the feeling of freedom and joy that you sometimes feel, for example, if you had Jupiter transiting this house, but the rewards for the hard work that you're putting in now will be well worth it in the long run. So let's see. Scorpio. Scorpio, your card is, I love this, listening. Listen to your wise self. Let your inner compass direct the course of your life. As you can see, she is cozying up with the mirror. I read this as you being a mirror to your highest qualities, you seeing yourself, you seeing the beauty in you, or even seeing the quote unquote shadow in you and loving that part of you that has never been given the attention. Like, for example, as I spoke about in part one of this video, if you were told you were too sensitive, if you were told that there was something wrong with you, if you felt in any way that you didn't fit in and that nobody understood you or anything like that, Scorpio, this is a time when you can really mirror back to yourself the truth about your depth, your gifts, your talents, the things that make you shine, including your sensitivity. And Scorpio, this makes me remember that I have a video for you on your superpower. I actually have a video for all the signs on your superpowers. So I will try to remember to link to that playlist below, but go listen to your Scorpio superpower video. If you could use some mirroring back of your gifts, talents, and your strengths, beautiful Scorpio. This is the time to listen to your wise self, because the wisdom that your soul, your wise self, wants to share with you is going to carry you far and be a very important part of your foundational strength. Beautiful Scorpio, if this resonates, let me know in the comments below. Libra, hello, beautiful Libra. I know there's no tune to what I just sang, but I just wanted to sing to you. Hello, beautiful Libra. Libra, you are experiencing Saturn and Pisces transiting through your house of holistic health and also your daily work, your daily habits, how you do your life. This is such an important part of our chart. Such an important part of our chart. With Saturn here, you are being tasked to really pay attention to any energy drains, anything that leaks your energy, anything that drains you, anything that supports you. This is your homework during the Saturn retrograde, beautiful Libra, is to be really aware of your work situation, how you exercise, how you move your body, what you eat, all of those things that are contributing to feeling in optimal health or not, or where you can make a change, Libra. Saturn is holding you accountable, wants you to hold yourself accountable to eliminate the energy drains. If it's not a yes, if it's not an absolute yes, it's a no, as Cheryl Richardson, who is the author of these cards, by the way, if it's not an absolute yes, it's a no. And you are worth any changes that you make. They will pay off in dividends that will keep rippling out in your life for time to come. So let's pull a card for you, beautiful Libra, and see what the cards have to say. Libra. Your card is achievement. Libra, you're a cardinal sign. Achievement is very important to you. What I love about this card is you are also a lover of beauty. And so I love that this little girl is she's dressed in this beautiful dress and she's got a little parasol and she's like feeling really good about herself. So this is bringing up inner child stuff. It is pouring rain right now. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but not only this, but with this light here and this butterfly, kind of looks like a moth-like butterfly. With this light here, you are going through a transformation, Libra. You are transforming something around the theme of achievement. For example, if you were taught to strive, if you were taught to like put your needs for health, for well-being, for your emotional well-being, especially in Pisces energy, if you were taught to do that and to not have balance in your life, and you need balance and harmony so much, Libra, we all need it, but I mean, you are the scales. If you were taught to achieve by overdoing, for example, overworking, for example, this card is saying that you're transforming that. The message on the back of the card is chase your dreams. You may be surprised by where they lead you. I love this. So this is a card saying reflect and talk to that inner child. Talk to that inner little girl or little boy. What are they sparked by right now? What lights you up? What is something, maybe a childhood dream that you have put off? This is the time to chase your dreams. And Saturn, the taskmaster, is saying it's time to chase your dreams. Pisces, creativity, imagination, artfulness. And most of you are quite talented artists, or you have the ability to develop your artistry. Libra, if this resonates, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Virgo, hello, beautiful Virgo. Virgo, Saturn in Pisces retrograde is happening in your 7th house of partnerships, committed relationships, whether they are a spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other on a romantic basis, or a professional level, clients, colleagues, people that you consider very important in your life that you support and who support you. So Virgo, with Saturn here, it's calling you to task to be very clear on whether your relationships, any of the relationships I just spoke of, are healthy for you, are supportive of you emotionally, supportive of your mental health, supportive of your physical health. It could be on any level. But it is really, really important, and I don't need to tell you this, you're probably already experiencing it. Very, very important that, for example, if your partnership or your close friendship, like a best friendship or a relationship with a colleague or a boss, if it needs work, if you would benefit from counseling, if somebody's showing you the door, or you should be showing someone else the door, that you are following through and doing that, because it's Saturn retrograde. If something could have come up for you already during the months of March and June, if your planets or points are being activated by this transit. And it depends on the planet or point in terms of how we're getting into this. For example, if it was Venus, if you're receiving an opposition to your Venus in Virgo, for example, that would really be calling you to be real about your relationship. That's just one example. But of course, our most important partnerships and all relationships, really, they require give and take. And is that give and take happening? And most importantly, especially because it's Pisces and it's the subconscious mind and our subconscious imprinting, often father issues, as I spoke about in part 1 of this video. This is calling us to be sensitive to our own needs, our highly sensitive empathic needs, and where do we need extra TLC, and is our partner or our best friend or anyone that falls within this house, our closest relationships or our colleagues, is this healthy for you? Are they also sensitive to your needs? Are they sensitive and honoring and respectful of your emotional needs? Virgo, this is what Saturn is having you look at. So let me pull a card for you and see if there is a further message for you. This is about your emotional foundation especially, but then of course that translates to all aspects of our health. Okay, Virgo. Virgo, your card is risk. Take a risk. You have the power within to move mountains. Some of you may need to take a risk to talk to a partner. Some of you may need to take a risk to talk to a boss. Some of you may feel like you don't have the power. You may be in a power struggle. Some of you may feel like moving out of your home, for example, if it's time to split up from your partner, you may feel like, I don't know if I can do this. You may feel dependent on the person in some way. But this is saying you can, Virgo, you can do it. Whatever it is, however you are rising above a situation, however you are taking your life to the next level, you are claiming your own well-being. However you're doing that, whatever risk that requires you to take, as you can see in this photo, you can do it. You have everything you need. And your pure love soul is helping you, will always help you to get through it. You have angels, you have guides. You are not in this alone. And most important, you have the power within to move mountains, Virgo, to move mountains. That is huge. If this resonates for you, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Leo, hello, beautiful Leo. Leo, you are experiencing Saturn transiting your 8th house of shared resources with partners or significant others. And this is also the house of transformation, death, and rebirth. It's the house of power. It's where we share power with others. And that often comes through our emotional and sexual intimacy and our financial dealings with other people as well. So this is also what also falls in the 8th house is like your retirement funds and your investments, and looking at those. You may be called during the Saturn transit to scrutinize. You may feel like your money is tight right now, or that your investments are not paying off, or that you have to sell some real estate, or you want to buy real estate, or there's something, your assets. You're looking at your assets, and these are assets that come from within you, and the assets that you've already created, and assets that you want to create. And so with Saturn transiting here, Leo, many of you could be figuring out some division of property with somebody. You could be figuring out Do you want to make a purchase with somebody close to you or a business partner? This does involve business partners as well as romantic partners. But this big picture is Saturn saying, are you factoring in your own needs? Are you taking care of your emotional well-being, your sensitivity, your empathic nature? Are you speaking up? Are you saying what you need to say? I love that song, John Mayer song, Say What You Need to Say. Say what you need to say. Leo, are you doing that? Do you have your own back? This is a transit, Saturn, that's requiring you to have your own back. It is strengthening your backbone. It is strengthening what you know to be true for yourself and how that is rippling out and affecting your dealings with partners, with business associates, and even your intimate moments with your partner. It could be transforming that as well, because big picture Saturn transits, when they activate our chart, planets or points in our chart, they are transformational. And this could also have to do with karmic relationships. Karmic relationships, setting boundaries that are reflective of what you know is true for you, your needs, and also having compassion, forgiveness and compassion for the other. So Leo, let me pull a card for you and see what the cards have to say. Beautiful Leo. Your card is friendship. Call a friend. When you are mirrored with love, you see yourself clearly. So this card is basically saying if you are involved in anything difficult with somebody or a situation that you're in, even if it's a financial situation that has to do with an institution, for example, get support. Call a friend, somebody who can mirror back to you your gifts. If you're doubting yourself, which we can often do during a Saturn and Pisces, especially transit, if you're doubting yourself, if you are at a low point, get support from a friend, from a coach, from an astrologer like myself, who will have your back, who will be your creative champion, who will mirror back for you, to you, for you, and to you the truth about you, so that you can see with brand new eyes. See yourself with brand new eyes. Beautiful Leo. Cancer. Hello, beautiful Cancer. Cancer, I have my moon and my rising in Cancer. So Cancer risings, we are having this transit of Saturn retrograde in Pisces in our 9th house. And this would be your 9th house, having to do with spirituality, your belief systems, your philosophies, your learning, whatever you're learning right now. Very often when we have a Saturn 9th house transit, we're learning something new, learning astrology, perhaps learning some other modality. Tarot, you could be getting a PhD, you could be getting a master's degree. It can be anything that you're learning, anything that is taking you to the next level of your wisdom, because this is really a house about wisdom. Saturn is strengthening your ability to be resilient. And this was reminding me of how during my Saturn transit, I moved to another country, Mexico, and this also rules other cultures. So some of you could be learning another language. Some of you could be going to another country. Now, what's interesting about a Saturn transit in your 9th house is that it doesn't really favor like the beach vacation. It doesn't really favor going to a foreign land just for a vacation, just to rest and relax, although it is Pisces energy, which does encourage resting. But it's more about meaning and fulfillment, a Saturn transit here. It's more about going to another culture for the adventure of it, for the new horizon, for the expansion of your mind, because this is the house of expansion. And Saturn, oddly enough, because Saturn can be constricting and you know, tells you to focus and put your nose to the grindstone. And like I moved to Mexico when I was still am really building my YouTube channel. So I worked a lot more, and I say past tense because I'm spending the summer with my kids now. In Mexico, I spent a lot more time working than enjoying the culture, but still, I really, really grew through that experience. And Saturn wants us to grow. Saturn is supporting you to expand and grow, and especially to take care of your own emotional needs. She says, as she is emphatically hitting her heart, So Cancer, you could feel very torn. You could feel like you really have to balance work and play right now. You could feel like you are working really hard to learn something. And this also involves visas, legal issues around living in other countries. It's also publishing, and it's where you could be letting go of a history in a religion or a history of thinking a certain way, of believing a certain way. You could be coming sober here, and you could have some very sobering moments or stretches of time, and it's not going to last forever. Cancer, it won't last forever. But the ninth house is also legal matters. So some of you could be going through some sort of legal conflict as well, or just having to jump through hoops on a legal level. So let us pull a card for you, Cancer, and see what the cards have to say. Cancer. Oh, by the way, Cancer, you are getting a trine. I forgot to say that. You are getting a trine from this energy, and that is a lot of flow. That is definitely support. That is more nourishment and more fertility than I spoke about before. But again, it depends on whether it's transiting other planets or points in different signs in your chart as well. But your card is dreams. Think big. This is so ninth house. Okay, so ninth house is traditionally ruled by Jupiter. So I love this. Think big. There are unseen forces ready to support your dreams. Cancer. This is such a Jupiterian card, and that is the ninth house. So because of this trine, I think a lot of you are feeling expanded during this time. Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Time to dream, time to think big, time to believe in yourself. Beautiful Cancer. Gemini. Hello, beautiful Gemini. Gemini, you are having this transit of Saturn and Pisces through your 10th house. And of course, this video is on the retrograde of Saturn and Pisces. And so Saturn is giving you a second chance or a bit of pressure to redo, refine, resource something that is important to you around career, legacy, your retirement, how you want to spend your one wild and precious life, as Mary Oliver puts it. With Saturn here, this is where we are doing the hard work. And in a retrograde, as I spoke about in part 1 of this video, in a retrograde, it can feel like a redo. It can feel like an integration of something that you've already learned before when Saturn was here. It can feel like you are going back to a task list that you had before. This could have to do with working with colleagues. It could have to do with working with business partners. Some of you are deciding whether to retire or not. Saturn is very foundational, so you could be starting your own business. You could be rebuilding a business. You could be reinventing yourself. You could be realizing where you need balance, where you are balancing, some of you, home and family with career, life-work balance. Some of you are balancing a relationship in your work. Some of you are really tuned into a calling. Saturn is saying it is time to say yes to a true calling, to answer the call of your soul, which is, of course, what my book is about, The Magic of Saying Yes. And I link to that in the description box below if you want to check it out. But this transit is saying factor in your needs for balance, your emotional needs. Now more than ever, we are being nudged or even pushed by Saturn. And Gemini, for you guys, this is a square. So that is pressure, that is motivation to factor in your own emotional needs, your sensitivity. So some of you, for example, could be in a work environment that isn't healthy for you. And so you are being really tasked by Saturn to change that work environment, or wherever you're spending the majority of your time. That may need a change, or the foundation of that somehow needs reworking or refining, or I'm laughing because it's a new word, healthifying. Gemini, you'll get this because we Geminis, we make up words, right? Healthifying. I think I forgot to say my natal sun is in Gemini also. You may be needing to healthify something in your own life. So let us see now what the cards have to say, beautiful Gemini, for you. And especially some of you could be asking, like, you could be thinking about financial freedom, becoming financially independent, and can I retire? Or can I have my own business? Like, can I do the thing that my heart really wants to do now? Okay. Gemini, your card is, oh, I love this so much, tenderness. Speak gently to yourself. Cherish the child within. This is obviously an inner child healing card. I do have an inner child healing video for you. I will link to that in the description box below. It's called Reparenting Yourself. I give you some tools to apply to your own inner child, and they're tools that only take a minute or two, many of them. And so this sweet child is the foundation of your spark, your inspiration, and your well-being. Beautiful Gemini. If you haven't spoken with him or her in a while, if you haven't found out what this child needs or might be lacking, this is the time to do it. Saturn will reward you. Okay, Taurus. Hello, beautiful Taurus. Taurus, you are experiencing Saturn's transit, Saturn's retrograde in your 11th house. And your 11th house is the house of the world. This is the world is your oyster. This is the house of alliances, of support networks, friendships, where you have your following or your adoring public, Taurus. If you have a social media platform or you have some sort of presence, either online, often it's online, or in the world, these are your people that support you. If you're an artist, these could be your benefactors. These are people that that support your work financially or otherwise. It is a financial house. It's the house of long-term financial gains. It's also the house of hopes, wishes, and dreams. It's the house of fulfillment, really. So with Saturn here, Saturn may bring you advisors because it's Saturn in Pisces, and that's a water sign. And for you, Taurus, that gives you a sextile, which is a lot of support, a lot of new opportunities. I feel a lot of you are probably experienced quite a bit of expansion here, but you may also be really needing to set boundaries with friends, finding out who are your friends and who is no longer in alignment with your vibration, practicing compassion for yourself and others, really getting clear, Taurus, on what's good for you and what isn't good for you. And this is your focus during this time. So let's see what the cards have to say for you now, Taurus. Taurus, this is where you could feel some of your following changing. Like Saturn can bring contractions and, in Pisces, it can feel like a removal, but then that's creating space for your true people, more true people to come to you. And as your vibration changes, then you get new people in your life and some people go, right? So that's part of the process. So your card is faith. Have faith. Faith grows when you act without knowing the end result. And this is very Piscean. Now, I want to say, of course, when you look at the card, she is a bit in distress. Feels like whatever she created in her past, there are petals that are beginning to fall. She looks like she's going through a death and looking at the rose, it looks like there is a death and rebirth process happening. You may or may not resonate with that, Taurus, but what I feel in the big picture this card is saying is about the faith that life has your back, and the faith that if something is changing, transforming, leaving, friendships may be changing, that have faith that it's bringing you something much better, and don't expect to know the end result because the universe is only going to show you what's right in front of you right now. Pisces energy is about going with the flow. So do what is right in front of you and the rest will fall into place for you, beautiful Taurus. And if this resonates, leave me a comment. Let me know. I would love to hear. Aries, hello, beautiful Aries. Aries, thank you for your patience. Aries, you are experiencing this transit, this retrograde transit of Saturn and Pisces through your 12th house. This is a deep and powerful transit. I love this transit for you. Why? Because Pisces does rule the 12th house. It is the subconscious mind. This is a deep reworking for some of you of your subconscious programming. This is reprogramming you. This is healing you from the inside out. This could be a deep spiritual practice for you. Some of you may have taken on a spiritual practice or you're going to. Breath work, I would highly recommend. Tapping, I would highly recommend. It's different for everyone, obviously, what you would enjoy. Some of you might do some sort of hypnotherapy or deep guided visualization. And I do have guided meditation visualizations for you on my YouTube channel, a playlist with 3 meditations that is linked in the description box below. You are really being encouraged to set clear boundaries, Aries. You are really being encouraged to put yourself first, to go into the depths of, for many of you, this will be father issues. This will be ancestral lineage kind of healing. This is honoring, you're being tasked by Saturn to honor your sensitivity, to reparent some of you, reparent yourself, to have compassion for yourself, have compassion for those of, you know, your parents or whoever raised you, whoever, you know, teachers, whoever could have, you know, the 12th house is often where we have a wound, a core wound sometimes, and abandonment, betrayal, or shame. And this transit's really helping you to heal that, Aries, taking you to the next level. So this is deep and transformative and very important. Remember that Saturn, well, Saturn hasn't been here since 1993 to 1996. So it's a 29-year cycle. And it won't be back again for 29 more years after it finishes this out. So this is very foundational to your inner narrative, to the way that you see yourself, to the way that you see life. And it could really transform any self-sabotaging tendencies, if you have them, or any self-doubt, insecurities. Really amazing for that, Aries. So let me pull a card for you. And I do that work with my clients. You can go to my website and check out my services if that resonates for you, but let's see what the cards have to say. Aries, your card is silence, and nothing could be more perfect for a 12th house transit. This is the house of rest and retreat, is the house of healing. Rest your mind. Silence is good self-care. She is completely one with nature. So time spent in nature, time spent in reflecting, time spent napping. All of these things will be supremely healing to you, beautiful Aries. Allow yourself to have the silence. It will pay off in dividends for you. Well worth your time. And if this resonates, let me know in the comments below. My beautiful friend, thank you for your support, for your likes of this video, for your comments, for your shares to other people who love astrology, for your subscribes to my channel. Your subscribes mean the world to me. They encourage the algorithm to put this video out to more people who love astrology, which is how my channel grows. Thank you so much for your donations, to those of you who donated. You completely make my day when you do so. And if you would like to know how Saturn is activating your natal astrology chart, what is happening with Saturn in your chart, or with any of the other transits that are going on at this time, with Saturn transits, they can often feel harsh. They can often feel like we're in the desert. Like, where have my people gone? Why do I feel alone? Why do I feel isolated? Why do I feel like my life is contracting? If that is true for you, or you could be having a Pluto transit, or you could be having a lot of restlessness from a Uranus transit. Neptune transits tend to dissolve things or make us more confused, make it harder for us to move forward. Whatever is happening for you in your chart, I will illuminate all of that for you in a natal astrology reading, or a heart's desire reading, a life purpose reading. We can do a synastry reading, all kinds of choices on my website. Go to my website, check out the testimonials that other clients have given after their readings, and that should give you a sense of whether you feel called to work with me. It will be my joy to meet you on Zoom. I do have a free gift for you. That is a soothing guided meditation, reconnecting with your spirit, returning home to your heart. To get that guided meditation, go to my website, subscribe to my inspirational weekly astrology updates for free, and you'll get that instant download right away. Let me know how you're feeling with Saturn and Pisces. Are you feeling this retrograde yet? Whatever you want to share about Saturn and Pisces, let us know in the comments below. We're all in this together. You are not alone. Saturn is slowly but surely strengthening us and moving us forward. So, my beautiful friend, until my next video, I am sending you all my love.